Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Let's talk about radical rituals, the radical ritual method, specifically, and the science behind it. This is going to be such a fun discussion for all of my fellow science and data nerds out there who just want to go deeper into the why this stuff works. For those of you that have done it before in person or online with me, you know this works. For those of you who have never done, you're like, what's a radical ritual? It is my multi-sensory empowerment methodology that shatters limitations and ignites your personal revolution to find your most authentic self. There's 4 steps to the radical ritual method, and they're all evidence-based. So first and foremost, I just want to let you know that my evidence of me experiencing it is number 1 for me, because this practice emerged out of my aching need to feel like I wasn't just floundering about life and floating around and losing myself. My authentic spirit had dwindled. I felt really lost several years ago. As you guys know from the last podcast episode, and you guys know my story in general, I had a really great tech job that I got from, after getting out of graduate school. And this was just 3.5, 4 years ago now, maybe, 4 years ago now. And I was having heart palpitations because of the stress, because I was so out of alignment with my authentic nature and I wasn't expressing it anymore. I was literally clogging up my body with the lack of flow. Because that's what happens here as a result of radical ritual practice, is that you find flow in your life again. Okay. So how does it work? Let's really talk about the mind, body, spirit connection here and dive into the research that's out there that really supports the efficacy of the radical ritual method. So first and foremost, I have 20 plus years of experience teaching yoga and meditation and practicing myself. I have 500-hour registered yoga teacher. Beyond that, I'm an experienced registered yoga teacher, if that means anything to you, if you're a yoga teacher, you know the gradation, the system inside of the Yoga Alliance. I'm considered a master level yoga teacher because I have so much experience. And diving deep not only into asana and the posture, but I love and ate up the philosophy of yoga. I dove deep into the esoteric practices, and I wanted to uncover what is it about this great mystery of Eastern philosophy. So that is at the core of the radical ritual method, is this transformative wisdom practice that is based on the Eastern wisdom practices, the age-old traditions, the wisdom of yoga, the wisdom of Buddhism, of spirituality and embodiment practices, but also evidence-based practices that myself has discovered and that I learned from my undergraduate work in psychology with a minor in cognitive science and my studying of fMRI research while I was a research assistant inside of the cognitive neuroscience lab. And I published papers on the amygdala and the brain. And I wanted to go on and become a researcher, a scientist, and study fMRI data. I really did. But then I went on and got my graduate degree in human computer interaction. And I worked in the lab there where I studied the effects of virtual reality on mindfulness-based practices. So I love the brain. I love understanding what meditation and presence and yoga and movement all has to do, and nutrition and cardiovascular stuff as well. It all has a deep entrenched effect on your cognition, on your ability to believe whether or not you can complete a task, on whether you think life is stressful to you or a threat or not. It all starts and ends with the body. And then on top of that, I have the evidence of those of you who have already practiced it with me. I've been teaching the radical ritual method, although it wasn't called that, for about 2 years now. It was taught first inside of one of my manifesting programs, Manifesting Mastery Membership, and it started there as a visualization practice that was coupled with movement. And you all started to have really big transformation from that. And then I kept working it myself. It's my craft that I developed, that it emerged really from my own need to do something fun and fast and potent. Okay, so those are sort of my requirements. So once I started learning what you guys loved about it and how it was affecting you, and then I started perfecting it on my own behind closed doors and developing a system that had 4 parts, and then weaving in breath work. And then I tapped on not making a to-do list, but a to-da list at the end. So now we got strategy at the end. It became its own nucleus. And now that baby sits inside the center of the Rise Holistic Empowerment System, which is a whole course, and there's masterminds and there's one-on-ones and there's in-person work. So that's a whole thing. If you want to know more about that, just hop onto my website. There's a link below this video or this audio to join the Rise membership, to join me in person. But now you know where radical rituals sit. Like I said, they're the nucleus now inside of the Holistic Empowerment Coaching Program. But once I started teaching this to you in person, and once I started teaching it, once I had the studio, we did it Monday nights at a class called Manifesting and Meditation. And I started hearing you guys. At the end of class, you were having the most profound shifts in consciousness, in realization, and in clarity. I had one student who kept seeing a Labrador Retriever, for example, and she was so confused. She's like, Kim, I don't know why I'm seeing a Labrador Retriever. I teach science in high school. I don't know why I'm seeing this Labrador Retriever. It's so happy. It just got done with the bath and it's in slow-mo right in front of me, shaking. I'm getting splashed with this water. Well, she kept seeing this dog over and over again in her visualizations. And finally, she kept asking her body. She kept trusting that the answer will come. She kept raising her energy using step 1, and then responding to her body in step 2, and then recalibrating in step 3 to really feel into and allow her own essence to come forth. And then finally in step 4, she really reclaimed. She went on to work with dogs. She realized, she got a realization. She was like, yeah, I'm meant to work with dogs. I actually do love dogs. That's all I want to do now. And I've been burying that desire beneath my current career, but I've been really unhappy. So what are you going to do? She said, well, I'm going to start doing dog grooming. And so she did. She went to work at a local store. She did dog grooming. They loved her so much that I think they took her away to do some training to become like a master groomer. And then she kept following her heart and doing these practices along with me in the community. She realized that she wasn't done yet. She applied for and got accepted to veterinarian school. So I think right now she's down in Cornell or somewhere near that in Ithaca, and getting an incredible degree on. Shout out to Rachel for doing amazing, amazing work. That's just one of the many, many examples of the individuals who have done the radical ritual method with me and have completely altered their life. This isn't anything I'm planting inside of you. This isn't anything that the method is doing to you. It's you doing you. This is you helping yourself to you. This is you uncovering your most authentic essence. Okay, so I have my evidence based on my personal experience. I have the evidence of individuals who have gone through this program. And then there's also the actual science itself. But before we get into the science itself, I want to give you one more example. I had a young lady that was working with me who was an incredible student of mine, and she came in and she's already had some manifesting work she was doing, and mindset work, empowerment work. But she started to get to know me a little bit more through a friend that was doing a lot of the work with me. She joined my mastermind, which is the Rise Holistic Empowerment Mastermind. And this woman was already very, very, very accomplished. Okay. She came in and she sat right down in her, at the time, her unknown shadows, her unknown blocks on her own energy, and worked through a lot of this unconscious fear of female competition. And she recognized that she had a desire to start to explore not only the masculine, but the feminine more inside of her healing work in circles. And so she created healing circles, feminine empowerment healing circles that she now teaches in the local area, and she's kicking ass and taking names. She is on fire. She was shown again and again through the radical rituals and through her embodiment work, and specifically through the coaching program as well that I developed, that she was able to be her strongest self and be a leader while also embodying her most feminine, beautiful essence of who she is. Shout out to Tatiana. There are a lot of people just like you who are stepping into all of this work right now and transforming and maintaining, sustaining their confidence and clarity by this work. So there's some social evidence for you, right? But I promised you a little bit more science. So let's get into that. Let's talk about rituals. Rituals, yes, part of the definition of a ritual is there's a religious connotation, but there's also a non-religious. Rituals are a systematic way that you are behaving or something that you're doing with no variance. That's a ritual. If you never change it up, if you do the same thing over and over again, and you believe in it, that is a ritual. That's why this is a radical ritual method, because this breaks radically any inauthenticity off from you. It shatters any illusions that you have of holding yourself back. Okay? Rituals are known. Science has revealed that rituals have a profound impact on recalibrating to authenticity. Just by being a part of something that the group of people share a common interest of, you can automatically increase your happiness and healing capacity. This has been shown time and time again with groups of religion, with groups of spiritual practice, with meditation groups. Just by showing up to the place, everyone's doing the same thing in, you automatically increase your dopamine. You automatically start to feel more connected and empowered. Feeling connected in a part of a larger system, even if you're doing it solo, alone in your home, is so critical to your momentum in life. This knowledge that you get to harness inside of the radical ritual method, this wisdom of the ritual itself, is evidence-based because it's a ritual, because it's a predictable system that you can repeat over and over and over again, that will guarantee results. I can't tell you what those results are going to be. It's really unique to the person, which is what makes it so fun and so wild to witness, really. But this practice, the steps you do, the methodology is a method. And I teach you that in person all this month and next month too, and online as well inside of the Rise Holistic Empowerment membership. So get in that. It's incredible. It's powerful. So really, the radical ritual method itself and everything we do inside of the holistic empowerment system is a toolkit. It's a toolkit of knowledge, of tools, of ways of being, of ways of thinking, of ways of breathing that allows you to bake into your life a system that you can repeat day after day. Here's what's magical, and here's what's really powerful as it comes to self-improvement with rituals, is that when you can think about something, you will learn about it. But then after a while, we stop learning because it just becomes autopilot. And that can be really good because sometimes we just need to autopilot the easy things that are beneficial to us. We've practiced a lot of unbeneficial things, and we've made a ritual of that. One example is negative self-talk. We've made really great job and really great headway at being really mean to ourselves. And it's not that we're just idiots and we don't know any better. It's just that we practiced it. You get better at what you practice, and then it becomes autopilot. And so there's a little bit of some work that needs to be done. And in some ways you have to be this rebel. In some ways you want to be different. You have to grab that fire inside of you that says, I'm done with that. That's an old story. That's an old paradigm. That's not me anymore. And I need to rewrite a new story. Well, what you're really saying is you need to build a new ritual. We don't have it in place yet. So this is where getting with something like that I have built in this community There's a methodology already in place for you. So you just plug yourself into the method, these 4 steps, doing it every morning, afternoon, and evening if you want, but definitely in the morning. And you start to build a new habit over time. And it doesn't take that long because what's cool about this methodology is it is 100% fun because of the music, because of dance, because of everything. All right, so let's also talk about the sense of meaning that the radical ritual method gives you. Research shows that rituals in particular can bring that sense of meaning and purpose into your life, which is really important. Human beings need to feel like they matter in this world. This also enhances your focus, reduces mood swings. Rituals can reduce stress and promote overall vitality and happiness and connection in your life. It's really important. So, by incorporating the steps that the radical ritual method gives you into your life, you can anchor into intentional living. You can shift your mindset. You can build and foster this sense of personal growth all through ritual. Breath work. Breath work is the other important part of one of the steps and experiences inside of the radical ritual method. Breath work is what we start with when we start to actually do the 4-part method. We raise energy. Raising energy is the first element inside of the 4-part system. When you raise your energy, we are primarily doing it through breath work. We pump the arms up and down and we inhale and exhale vigorously. If you're familiar with pranayama techniques, it's like Bastrika. And it levels up your oxygen in the blood. And it opens up and vasodilates and makes you excited, arouses the nervous system. And this gets us really in tune to, hey, what's going on? There's something really special happening here. When you raise your energy, you're essentially raising the frequency of your body. When you raise the frequency of your body, we're becoming less matter, less particle, more wave, more energy. And when you do that, your mind expands. You stop thinking about the material world. You stop thinking about the day-to-day grind and time as this linear thing. And you start opening up your mind and expanding your consciousness to remember that time isn't linear, that time is an illusion. Time is what you say it is. Time is how you feel. Success is how you feel. Money is how you feel. Wealth consciousness is a way of being. And you start to open up your mind to love and compassion and these higher vibratory ways of being, all because you increased your breath. There's so much science out there that backs the power and the influence that breath work has on the nervous system, on the cognition of the individual, mental clarity, reducing emotional mood swings. Breathwork helps you to feel confident and connected to society and the larger picture of life. We could call that God consciousness. We could call that source. Whatever you call that, breathwork helps you plug right into that. Breathwork also gives us a sense of separation. And I talk about this a lot inside of the radical ritual method when we meet in person, especially. But when you expand your energy through breathwork, you decouple a little bit from this stress of life. So whereas before you kind of feel like, wow, the stress of my life is right on top of me and anywhere I go, there's all my problems. Well, when you expand and raise your energy through breathwork, you get a little bit of space. It's like, wow, this feels really good. I'm over here, just me again. And yeah, there's all my stressors over there. They haven't changed. They haven't gone anywhere. Breathwork and any of that, they will never guarantee to remove your problems. But what it does is it changes your relationship to those things. And now, instead of being entangled with the stressors of life, you've got perspective on it. And then from there, we can step into our authenticity. In fact, you already have in that moment. And you're you again, and you're whole, and your inner wisdom can grow there, and you can operate from that inner wisdom. And you know your core values, and you know your authentic voice, and you can operate and make decisions from that place now because you've decoupled from the stress of life. You've disentangled for a moment and gained the perception of expansiveness. That's what breath work does. And science shows us again and again and again that this is exactly what we perceive in the brain. And we cultivate ultimately through breath work this deeper sense of self awareness. Music, let's talk about music. So, when we do a radical ritual, we are always doing it with music. The radical ritual method combines powerful music. You can do it to any music you want. But when you do it with me in person, I have curated music that I have found, that I've chosen, that introduces the rhythm at the right moment, the etherealness, this sort of wonder that comes about because we do want to wonder. We do want to be in a state of what is about to happen? What is possible for me? Can I be enthusiastically enraptured into all of this? That's wonderment, right? We unlock that with the expression of music. So, of course, there is ancient wisdom in music and rhythm and dance. And then there's scientific evidence as well that dance provides a transformative experience. That it's when we use music and rhythm and beat and certain notes specifically that we can bypass the thinking mind and open up our higher conscious faculty so that we can begin to feel our energetic way through life rather than thinking about it. Thinking is latched on with lower vibration, not lower as in bad, but lower as in denser timelines of material world and time being linear. And higher vibration, again, doesn't mean good, it just means higher vibration, more refined vibration, is linked with the energy world and the world of light and love and positivity and energy. And when we have music, that's a higher energy frequency as well. It's not on a denser timeline, it's of the higher energy realms too. So by attuning to music that lights you up and specific music, specific notes, for example, you can begin to not only attune the chakras of the body and the higher energy system, but you just feel like you're amplifying your energy. You just feel like you're deepening connection. You feel like you are dancing, moving your most authentic expression out. Now, inside of the radical ritual method, I have the third stage, which is recalibrate. Recalibration is wild. Okay. Now, in my work down the road, what I would love to do is do my own research on this and hook people up to EKG, EEG, all the things, fMRI, do all the things to study the effects of this third stage specifically. I don't even know how I'd really do that, but it would be awesome. Recalibration is you hear the beat of the music, but then you intentionally move against the grain. You move off rhythm. Now, why would we do that? Well, when we move in rhythm, we're producing harmony and synergy and probably a lot of those good, happy hormones that I was just talking about, dopamine, and we lower cortisol. We boost up testosterone a little bit too, which is really good. Testosterone is needed to take action in the world. It's really, when that's present, we are taking action. We're expressing, we're demonstrating our passion more. So that's really good to increase. When we move out of synchronicity with the rhythm, there's dissonance and there's an awkward feeling in the body. Everything in you wants to move to the rhythm, but we're moving out of rhythm. And what this symbolizes is that you can find your own rhythm. It might look different, it might sound different, it might taste different than what the rest of the world is saying it should look and sound and taste like, but you're doing it anyway. This is you forcefully finding your way with the body into your most authentic expression. And then in that third stage of recalibration, we go out of rhythm, but then we come back in. And what this symbolizes is that we're showing the nervous system that you can trust this. You can trust this. You can move out of rhythm with life. You can move out of rhythm and it's totally okay. You can be in rhythm and then out of rhythm. You can be and move with the group, but you can also stand alone in your own authentic knowing. Does that make sense? You liking that? That's what the third stage does. And so it's really important that you learn because guess what? Your life, your most authentic life, isn't going to look all the time like anyone else's because it's authentic, it's unique. And so we have to be willing, we have to learn now early in the early stages of what it's like and what it takes to actually be courageous and to hold that space for that transformation. because that's what it's about. It's about your transformation. Well, guess what? How do you practice that? Where is the practice of that in life? Otherwise, if you don't practice it, which I don't see other ways of practicing it other than the radical ritual method, embodiment practices are the only way to do that. You're going to get out there in life and you're going to go ahead and be authentic, and everyone's going to be like, that's weird. And then what's going to happen? You shut down, right? You shut down, you disappear, you don't talk about it again, you bury it. And then it keeps coming up year after year, this other way. Well, then, because your life is constantly trying to express itself through you. So it goes, okay, well, then let's try this. And then you go and be authentic over there. And then life reacts. Because what do people do? They react like, that's weird. When something's different, it's weird. And if you always have to base your value on external validation and people's reactions, well, you're screwed, my friend. Sorry to put it so bluntly, but it's true. So in the radical ritual method, you literally learn how to embrace your authentic self, how to stand apart, and to trust yourself that that's safe. And trust yourself that you can do it when you say so. When you say go and you do it. And when you need to go back to recalibrate and be quote unquote normal and to take a chill for a second and just coast, you can do that too. But the point here is that it's all your decision. It's all when you say so. Okay. So the radical ritual method altogether brings in that evidence, the scientific evidence that this is a transformative experience on a soul level, on a body level, on a mind level. And I haven't even talked about the unconscious mind and the reticular activating system. We get into that when you join me in person, and I'll go into that more when you join me inside of the membership, etc. And I have a couple videos on YouTube about it right now, by the way, talking about manifesting and how visualization and feeling the emotion again and again and again is really important to overriding the gatekeeper, the beautiful gatekeeper of the reticular activating system. Once you unlock that, you're able to actually train your brain and your unconscious mind to show you what you're desiring more of when it's in your direct vicinity. So when someone has a tool you need, when there's a book, when there's a person, when there's a moment, when there's a conversation around you that matches what you said is important, but you're doing this thing over here, your RAS, or your reticular activating system, passes that information into your conscious mind. And that's when you go, oh, it must be serendipity that book was right there. Or how did that person, oh my gosh, it must be God, it must be source putting that person in front of me. How did they know I needed to hear that? How did the universe know I needed to have that magazine in front of me on the checkout at Wegmans? How did the universe know that I needed to have that conversation with that stranger? It feels magical, but it's not. It's actually the laws of the universe at work, and it's the laws of your consciousness at work. When you learn to train your RAS in this way, you learn to train your unconscious to actually show you the abundance of life that is actually continuously around you all the time. It's not that those things aren't there. It's that you just weren't looking for them. And that's neuroscience, baby. That's how we actually train the brain. So this is what I love about this practice is that, yeah, there's a lot of energy. The radical ritual method has a lot, my embodiment practices in general does have a lot of woo-woo energy stuff in it, but you can never, never argue that my shit ain't based in data and isn't based in science, because it works, and it works for a reason. And I'm only just starting to explore more. I'm at the tip of the iceberg of all of the science and embodied cognition. I mean, I didn't even talk about postures with you and how we hit the V pose, which is a proven endorphin building, immunosupport posture for confidence. You guys know the starfish and superhero and V pose, right? Like I use those in the radical ritual method because it's proven. I started doing research and I'm like, oh, I can insert that in. Oh, I can do that. Oh, I can do that. And so that's why this is like a whole package. It's just bam. You just do the radical ritual method. It's just bam. It's just power. You just feel it. You're like, yep, this works because it does. Because it's a conglomerate. It is a cherry-picked conglomerate deliciousness of everything, smorgasbord of amazing power. So I call to you Right now, you're listening to this or watching this, and some of you, if you're in the area, or come find me. If you're not, take a drive, come see me in Liverpool, and then in Oswego, and then in July, there's going to be more events coming where you can learn this in person with me in the community. And there's so many cool events I got stacked up, one leading into the other, all summer, all fall, and into the winter long. Where if this is really piquing your interest and you stuck with me to the end of this, first of all, thank you. But also, let's go. Let's do this. I'm inviting you into this methodology. You deserve to learn this and have this tool just as much as anyone else. And I guarantee it will unlock happiness in you. I guarantee it will unlock purpose in you. I guarantee it will unlock transformation in you. If you do the work, and you show up and you do this and you practice it every single day, like I have and other people have, you will see the transformation. Okay? It's there for you. So I love you guys so much. I hope to see you inside of the Rise membership, the empowerment membership soon, where you can learn this digitally with me or inside one of the in-person events. Let's go. Let's go. I love you guys so much. Get into the radical ritual vibe, create your own. And even if you don't like my thing, that's okay. Do something. Do some embodiment practice, because like if you can make up your own thing, do some breath work, do some meditation, do some empowerment stuff, but do something that is embodiment. Do something every day that's a system. Take what I just taught you and do your own ritual. It doesn't have to be mine, but like just use this information to go, wow, okay, there is a lot of transformation backed by science. That if I move the body, if I dance, if I use music, if I use breath work, if I do it every day as a ritual and never change it up, just kind of make sure that the system is there, you will be completely transformed. You will find and unlock your power, and you will shatter those limitations. That's what's there for you. All right, guys, have an awesome day, and I'll see you on the path.